Welcome back to Breast of Campus. Some insights in Parshat Vayeitzei. Our rabbis teach us that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaacov, each one instituted a different prayer. Avraham instituted Shacharit. Okay, that was, as is hinted to, Vayashkem Avraham Baboker, that he got up early in the morning. That the incidence of Avraham Avinu is early in the morning. And we learn from here that he instituted the morning prayer. And by Yitzchak, Vayeitzei, Yitzchak la suach basadeh, le'et erev, towards the evening, in other words, the afternoon, late afternoon, he went out to pour out his conversation before God. That's Mincha. And by Yaakov Avinu in this week's parsha, that it says, Vayifga b'makom vayalen sham, that Avraham, when fleeing from Esav, because his father and mother sent him to go to Lavan's house, and he, out of rush, he passed Yerushalayim. Rashi has a whole discussion where exactly he was located, but in the bottom line, he did pass the place, the future place of the Holy Temple, the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Mount in your Har Zion, the Mount in Yerushalayim, where the Beit HaMikdash is, okay? So he passed it, and Rashi brings down what the Gemara says, that he said, how could I have passed the place where my ancestors, Avram and Yitzchak, davened, and I didn't daven there? So he went back, right? And it says, Vayal and Sham, he went to sleep there. But Vayifga b'makom, he met unexpectedly the place. The word Vayifga means unexpectedly to bump into, but also means prayer. Pigi'ah also means to daven in Aramaic. And from here we learn that Yaakov instituted the evening prayer. So the question is, what is this that Yaakov forgot the place? He passed by it unexpectedly, and he went, in other words, he went back, and then he davened Arvit. So we know, just to explain, that Shacharit and Mincha, according to Torah law, are obligatory. In other words, the rabbis instituted it as an obligation for every Jew to pray the morning prayer and the afternoon prayer. The evening prayer initially was instituted as being optional. Whoever wanted to daven it can do so. Later on, which is now, in these later years now, we're talking about at least the last 500, 600 years, it has been instituted by everyone that it's an obligation, that everyone davens Arvit, even longer, more than 600 years even. So now what's the idea like this? Is that Yaakov, he passed by the place of the Holy Temple at nighttime. Nighttime connotes the darkest periods of life. And it's so dark that a person or forgets to daven, or feels there's no use in davening. It's so dark, the situation, as if my davening is going to help. I don't see anything. I don't see Hashem. I don't see divine providence. I see nothing happening at all. This is the darkness of the evening in which Yaakov perceived. And that's why he passed by the place unknowingly. You know, I passed by this place and I forgot to daven here, and had to go back to daven. What's the idea? Is that Yaakov Avinu saw that even in the darkness, one should pray. And eventually the rabbi said one has to pray, because one cannot give an excuse if it's so dark. If the exile, which is basically Yaakov's experience, that Avraham and Yitzchak, they instituted Shacharit and Mincha, which are both during the day. Both symbolize the first temple and the second temple. Avraham Avinu is symbolizing the first temple that stood. So that's the day, the beginning, the daybreak of the Jewish people when the first temple was built. So Avraham is the morning service, which is the beginning. Yitzchak, still the day, but the second temple, which was right before the darkness, before the second destruction of the temple. Yaakov Avinu will be corresponding to the third temple. But to get to it, it's a long darkness. It's the longest exile of all the four exiles, is the one that we are presently in. And Yaakov Avinu is experiencing, in the story of the parsha, that future darkness. And the idea again is that there's no use in davening. But Yaakov Avinu passed that place, and after forgetting, he said, how could it be that I'm not going to daven? We have to institute that even in the darkness, daven. What's going to help? It's going to help. You don't see it? Fine. Hang in there. So this is the idea of Yaakov Avinu going back, vayifga b'makom, and he prayed in that place to institute for the Jewish people the evening prayer, which is now obligatory. And the idea of davening when it's night is the concept that even when things are super duper dark and you already feel there's no hope, let's say between me and the end, there's nothing in between. That's it. We're right next to each other. There's no logic in davening. There's no need to daven. Even there, Yaakov Avinu says daven. You have no idea what's going to be, what's going to sprout, how salvation will come. And this is the idea that Yaakov Avinu instituted the evening prayer, and now the sages made it obligatory that every Jew is obligated in their darkness not to give up and to daven, and you will give a recollection, in other words, a reckoning. You will give a din v'cheshbon for not davening in your darkness. Because now that the rabbis instituted you have to daven Arvit, the evening prayer, it's to remind the Jew that even in your personal darkness, you must daven. You must do some effort to show to Hashem that you're not giving up, and not to be fooled by the severity and the thickness of the darkness that it's all over. This is the idea of Yaakov Avinu instituting Arvit, even after forgetting the place, going back, no, we must daven in this place. We should be zoche to remember this forever, throughout our life, through all the dark situations, that davening counts, davening makes a difference, and it's your obligation.